Hello guys, welcome to the Trading Parrot and to another episode of the Elite Trading. In these sessions that we host on Thursday at midday UK time, we cover altcoins, we cover general markets, and in general is a space for you to request which assets you want me to do live TA. In general, Elite members get the best benefit out of this opportunity just because they get access to this poll where they can include the coins, include all the assets that they want me to review. Those ones are going to take precedence, priority. But of course, if you're not an Elite member, if you're not part of my Patreon, do not go anywhere because there's very little number of requests this week. So I'm going to need you in the comments that are already live to write down which coins you want me to review. The top one that appears in the commentary is the ones that I'm going to review first, right after I'm done with the ones from my Elite members. And then right after that, there's going to be a competition. Whichever coin appears in the chat live is going to make it into the analysis. So let's get started with that. Let's go into the first asset. In this case, it's not a cryptocurrency, it's an ETF called MU. And for those of you that are interested in general markets as well, this is going to be phenomenal because as we all know, cryptocurrencies, specifically the altcoins, are not really doing that great. So this could be an opportunity to browse outside of the crypto and see what else is out there that is actually doing great. In this case, we have an ETF that, let me show you the full name, is Van Eck Agribusiness ETF. And it's listed in the New York exchange. It's trading at 78.69 at the moment. Pre-market is in the positive, and it has built in here some bullish pattern, I will say. There used to be a resistance from around December 2023 that we can tell that is currently flipping potentially into new support. This looks like an inverse head and shoulder that has managed to break out and is heading into the previous support at this area of 82. Pre-market, we are at 79, almost 80, so just 2 points, and we're going to face a new resistance. There is a vacuum in volume in here. Most traded area is 72 that held at support. We built some structure, and now we are heading into new resistance. Obviously, this volume peaks at 92, so there will be some challenges along the way, I will say. Let's look at the momentum. What have we achieved with this ETF? Remember that I'm reviewing on the weekly time frame. Therefore, this is going to be a long-term analysis from April 2021. And notice something that is really important if you are into cryptocurrencies. If you admit that we are in a bear market looking for assets that peak when cryptocurrencies have the worst time, might be something interesting, right? So for example, this on COVID was at lows of momentum of 15. Really bad. But then the rally into April 2021, at that point, crypto was having its first hiccup. It was collapsing pretty much from 60s into 28K. And this one collapsed, found some support in here. It did another move into March. Then we started the bear market. At the moment, it's rallying and it's putting potentially higher highs this week relative to the highs in here after breakout that started consolidating around March in 2025. And we've seen a structure shift in here, right? So instead of downside on the momentum, we are starting to see upside. But now very quickly, we're going to find some levels of resistance, as we also noted in the price action, potentially 70s, I will say, in which case we need to be looking for some pullback to prove that's going to come in handy, because we just broke out this level. So that could be the beginning of a pullback for a retest and potential further upside. Notice that this is a quite tall pattern from 59 into 76. That is currently the technical target, goes into the previous most traded area on the upside, which is 92. Let's see if we can get into 92 with this stock agribusiness called Mu. Let's go into the next one. Let me say hello, guys. Yeah, I'm also been missing you guys. Hello, amigo. Someone asked for Ondo, so after I'm done with the elite request, I'm gonna go with Ondo. And then after that, whichever coin is the latest in the chat, that is always going to take precedence. That's going to create a very messy and busy chat, but that's precisely what I want to do. So I'm going to disclose that. Could you please do ADA and talk about the upside liquidations? We can cover ADA. Make sure that ADA is making it in the chat constantly. Good afternoon, Mariano. We are so back. Love from New York City. Well, we are back thanks to, this back and forward that we're currently having. Some people requesting WIF. Good morning, Parrot family. Let's go with the next one. The next one from my elite members that you can tell that they are on the top requests. None of them are crypto. So that also says something, right? We got LND, Brazil Agro. Two agricultural ETFs, this time from Brazil, LND, Brasil Agro CIA Brasileira de Propriedades. Oh, properties. I'm confused. Is this properties or is this agro? Anyways, let's look at this one. Oh, it's been listed in 2011. It started from 9.5. It made a peak in April 22. And now it's not rallying like that, contrarian to the other Mu ETF. It's got heavy resistance around the 4, but the local resistance that we are facing now is this. And we have some sort of double bottom. We are kind of not wanting to go below 350. There's clearly some level that we've been bouncing. This could go on for longer. Setups that I like is, well, buying support, but we are not clearly anymore at support. That happened a few weeks ago. Resistance to short it if you are thinking, well, the double bottom is not going to play out. You could play, a liquidity hunt there and then go back into new lows and continuing. You could treat this like a bear flag from here and say that it's going to go as low as 1.5. That's another setup. Remember, you can have a bias, right? But you need to acknowledge all the setups that you have on the table. It's like you are playing chess. So you can kill this, you can kill that your opponent could do this and this and this and that, and you embrace the uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen. You just know which ones are the moves that bring me the best back for the money. And those are the ones you bet on, but you don't bet that you're going to be necessarily right. Sometimes you're going to take bad trades. In this case, you could take that short, you could take the long in here. This double bottom could push into 456, where you have that resistance, that previous support that held from March 2023 and finally broke in October 2024 into a triangle pattern right there. So I will say that this vacuum in here is the challenge at the moment. Whether we can really teleport ourselves into the next level of trading range, that will be fantastic. We have a setup in here that could play out in that direction, but if you are into a long from the bottom in there, you are risk-free, so you could bet into that. If you want to trade the breakout, well, the cost of that breakout is higher because it could fail with that liquidity hunt and hit your stop loss. So that's why obviously trading support is a better risk to reward. But if you want to trade the breakout, you could trade the breakout. If you're holding already and you have been accumulating around here, you could bet into going into $5. Let's go into, before that, let me see momentum on this. We also have a breakout in here. So momentum is doing pretty good. There's been a painful retest in here at 34. When did that happen? Well, that happened at support, pretty much at 35. That was the entry. Now we get a new high, and we are reaching levels of percentiles that, are calling for a top, right? But without the price having breaking out. So we could technically see the breakout, because momentum has already done it. So watch out for a pullback, and if that pullback is shallow and it has a follow through, that could be the actual price breakout, because price is not managing yet to break out. Momentum has done it first, which, don't get me wrong, that's a good thing. Right, so that will be it for LND. I hope my elite members are happy with that, and I'm gonna jump into crypto now. We're gonna go with XMR, which I haven't looked in the last few days. We reached the 1618 and we left an ugly shooting star. And we are testing support. I left you support. Let's see the daily. How was this? So probably I was doing TA on Thursday. So we were here at 683. And on the daily, we probably noted the shooting star. Call me out if I didn't say that. I don't really remember what I say on Thursday, but that was 1 week ago. And what I left in the chart is this support. And we came back into that support. Now we need to hold 484 for additional upside. The most bullish support on the weekly has been broken on December. We put new low, so we did a layer 2 in here. We are defending that layer 2, and we are breaking out but coming back. So that could be considered a fake out move to the upside. So this last leg, if it doesn't close above 63, it starts risking being a fake out with potentially incoming breakdown of 59. Let's see where is 59, by the way. Because if it breaks that, where is in the price? Okay, so if we break that 481, that is at layer 2 broken. We are going then into layer 3, and that's really bad. That's precisely what happened to a lot of coins that went bearish. Like Solana did all this mess up there in the breakout, and then nothing really good happened after that. SUI did some of this in the third leg up, and it also didn't end up well. So if XMR starts entering into that quicksand and it breaks this 484, watch out with that, okay? Personally, I already distribute my Monero. I think I tweet about that at some point. I no longer have it. So I missed some of these gains, but it's okay. That's what we do before getting into a bear market anyways. Let's see what else. We still have an enormous amount of longs on XMR. So we could read that in two ways. We could say, well, they're still there. They're persisting. There could be some higher highs. Sure, you can get a dead cat bounce as well. But this engulfing red candle in here is telling me that potentially we're going to get another one like it happening there. When we get too high with longs, then we also get a bit of carnage. So maybe these longs are going to give up a little bit more getting into the 56. And that potentially could break the 4A1, taking us back into this trading range, in which case we're looking slightly below $400. Right, so that is XMR, but do we have liquidity on XMR? That would be fantastic. Yep, we do have. I think I discovered that last week, now that I remember. And upside, whoa, look at those juicy levels on XMR at the top. Where is the peak? First of all, where is the liquidity of the pros? So pros, 3x are around 919, around here. So they are almost at $1,000. They're they're pretty far from where we are trading now. On the daily, we are so far holding the $500 previous resistance and testing it. Liquidity from them is at 413, so also far away. If we start bringing the losers, then you can see the clusters are the biggest one, $800, followed by 767. Close to the price, we do not have that much. Let me just filter by big leverage, which is at 655. So how does it feel? How would it feel a jump into 657 for price action now? That will take us probably into golden pocket, so around here for a further rejection. After this pullback, another push up there, and that takes you into that golden pocket. So any short, I wouldn't take any short from lower than 650, just in case they get their, you know, their amount of love, as I call it sometimes. But $800 is for the pros. Short, taking a long around here from this support has some levels of liquidation that end sharply at $400. So anything that you do long in here, consider these chunks in there that are very intense. After that, it declines sharply, but up until $400 is very heavy in terms of risk for Monero. Let's go with the next one, which is LCNT. This is not necessarily cryptocurrency. LCNT is Louisiana Scent Oil and Gas Company. Is listed in the New York Exchange. But what is this? Right. So listing in 1998 is at the very low prices of listing. Let me see if I'm in the right symbol. LCNT. I'm not fully sure I'm in the right symbol. So whoever put this one, if it can confirm, because I don't want to do TA of things that are wrong. I'm going to jump with the request from people now. And if I see on Patreon community someone commenting it wasn't LCNT, something else, or it is the correct one, then we can do it. But as I promised, in the comments, now I'm going to do Ondo, and any comment that comes after the latest one is gonna be right after Ondo. So start the battle for getting that into the analysis. Let's go with Ondo. I used to do a lot Ondo in Paul Baron, so I haven't done it in a long time. And you know, I earned myself a lot of hate talking bad about Ondo, talking bad about XRP. But they should appreciate it because now they are all decimated, right? Instead of that, I earned myself not being invited to the channel because people were annoyed that I was saying so many bad things about this. But look at this. I mean, they should call me back and ask for more. And that's what I will do. But okay, so we have one rally number 2 already from lower. And this, if you consider this rally third, really bad, it formed a double bottom, but from the neck, it didn't do anything apart from going lower. There is no swing up from here. It's just down from the neckline of $1, just go into 0.32. So what do we have on the table for this? So still we have that high right there. So we have to use that. We are still below that. That one broke out, but it failed. So we have to use layer 2, or we could say layer 3, depends. This was another failure. This is another fake out. So many fake outs. So this is really crap price action. Not to mention that everybody's already liquidated up till 25 and we're at 32. So we keep going down despite the fact that that liquidity is already out. So what can we do? What can we do with Ondo? So I assume that you're one of those people that got convinced in Paul Baron channel to buy Ondo, and now you're trying to get out. So what is resistance? Resistance is 41, I will say. Let's figure what that is, where that is in the price. is at 47. So that is our resistance. It's more or less where we wick here at 49, a little bit around there. If we don't break out from there, we literally don't have much to do. We are at the 30s, and we could say that we are on the right wing of a double bottom, and that is at this previous resistance. That is the current support. I'm not saying it's going to hold, but that's what's holding us so far. And if we go into 41, price action on Ondo will draw something like that, and that could be our double bottom. Double bottom, that previous resistance support. Interestingly, the most traded area is 23 cents. What? But we've been there just a few weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, there was a lot of trading going on there, more than in all these areas, which I find crazy. And we have all this vacuum in here. And if it fails 31, we're going to find ourselves trading back at 24. Okay? And that was the level that held on Binance, 24. So we got this double bottom, but if it fails, we're going to go into 24. It's right there. And the breakout of 45 could bring us back into 60, which is the neckline. So that revenge could just die at 60. We'll see. So trail it. Look for entries between 34 and 24 and trail as much as you can into 60 without getting kicked out. And if you survive that, we could find ourselves back at 80, but not sure if it's going to happen. Not sure. And watch out the breakout of the RSI. In terms of liquidity, Ondo, let's have a quick look. Can you talk about money management? Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned it, because we always need to think about that. 3 months. Liquidity, right. So there's a big chunk at 71. Let's see which one is the biggest. So we have something at 42 that should help forming that double bottom. And then that 60 that I mentioned, where is it? The 60 is the target. Cool. And the 73 is the previous support. Right. Let's go back to liquidity. 48, 53, 60. I'm not sure we're going to make it to 60, because either we make it just into 52 and that's it, or if we really go bullish and there's something around the corner bullish for Ondo from the fundamental point of view, then you have that 72 that is very heavy, and that's where we could be going. But I'm not gonna bet on that because there's so much gap there. So I will say we're gonna fool around with that, if not going into 24, because it's really not looking great. So next one is, I know that this is for TA mainly, but can you give some info on how you hedge your positions for the bear market? Thanks. So it depends. So on Bitcoin, well, by basically trying to get a short as high as possible, and then fool around with my longs, and when they are wrong, I'm risk free. And whenever you take a long, well, I don't think I can cover this so quickly in a single answer. But the short answer is by having some shorts pin from areas of weakness. So you get that short in, and then you enter with some longs at areas where you see strength, and trade like that. And if you're wrong, you get transferred to another range down, and you need to take your second long. That's kind of the thing. But you could also hedge by having some other assets that you are expecting in these conditions to go up, right? And to hedge some of the losses from crypto. But I have to be honest. For example, ADA, my link are in a loss, and they are not hedged by any trade, any short. They are just literally in a wallet waiting there for better times. So if you can afford that, then so be it. Next coins is I couldn't find any coin. Well, I'm gonna go with Ethereum because it's very important, and then Solana. So ETH got some rejections, just like Bitcoin. Let's see what happened. Did we break something big? So on Ethereum so far this week, probably we were lower than this, right? So prior to the announcement, Ethereum RSI probably was around the 40s, maybe even breaking this low in there. So that breakout will be in danger. But thanks to the pullback, and I'm talking about the de-escalation in Greenland, it is so far getting really close to reclaim the most bullish support, which means that nothing has been really broken. This is just a normal pullback into the most bullish support, and the breakout is still alive. Yeah, it's a red engulfing candle. It's right at the 2.9 support. We already tested that one, so I will prefer to close this week as high as possible, ideally above $3,000 for Ethereum. We are at 2,990, so we are not very far from that. Yeah, we're not gonna get to 3.5 that quickly. Let me see. So momentum looks okay. Price action looks a little bit deteriorated thanks to that red candle. Let's go with liquidity on Ethereum. There you go. Okay, so on the daily, yes, we did take a decent bullet, just like we did on Bitcoin. Bitcoin looks the same in here. There is the breakout. Ethereum managed to get almost to 70 and then put a lower high and then a breakdown. And now on the price, we are also below this ascending support. So there is some damage there. And if we cannot reclaim that 3,000, as I say earlier, in this case is $3,060. If we cannot reclaim that, we are due for going at least into 2.5, which is the first chunk. I'm bullish on 2,000. Remember, I'm chasing that long in case this flag pukes there. I'm interested definitely in the 2,000, in the sub 2,000. In here, if you're a degen and you want to bet that we still have some juice to go for February, you are right at the area where we need to take that long for that reclaim and for that bullish upside. If that doesn't play out, put a stop loss at the previous low, or do something, or DCA or whatever plan you have for risk management, because this is on the table. That's your risk. So you cannot be naked there taking a long and expecting, it's not gonna go there. Then it goes there and then you're screwed. So yeah, you can take the degen, but take the measures in case it doesn't reclaim the 300, just to wrap it up for that potential upside. We have some liquidity at 4,000, at 4.3, and then at 4.9, which I'm not sure if we're gonna get there. No one knows really. No one can tell you we are going there, because that's just bullshit. We live in the world of trading, so there are uncertainties. And Nvidia, I just covered it in Crystal Gains. So subscribe to my second channel related to general markets, and you can see that one there. Let's do Solana now. Solana. Sold USDT. And yeah. Okay. So this is not that bad. So last week we were talking about reclaiming this 129, which I liked. that send us into the next resistance of 150. This week, unfortunately, we came back down to test that 130. So, which is not bad, right? Okay, we just came to test that 130, but don't get me wrong. You lose that 130 and you are in the territory of putting a lower low on Solana. So defend that 130 with everything you can, so we can go beyond the 150 and go back to the mean, which is currently at 170. I'm using the volume weighted moving average on the weekly, and we haven't touched it in quite a long time. We touch it on the way down. So on the way up is at 170. Let's look at the momentum. And yeah, we have an internal breakout in here. So that is the one that we are currently having. It started from the 5th of January and we have a higher low. So it's, on due for, upside. We were talking about this breakout. We were calling it at 37, saying we can go there. That's the biggest upside that I'm expecting. That's not the forecast. That's just, I don't think we're going to get beyond 58. So you could take profits anywhere within that. And that 58 is located in the price at 187. 187. Yep. And in terms of liquidity, let's go to Solana. Why it's not loading? There you go again. Now it's working. Right. So Solana, interesting. On the daily, Solana, because it runs so high into 67, very far away from starting from 33, starting from 28, all the way to 67. This collapse just took it back into the most bullish support and it reclaimed. So that 130 so far is a bullish retest, as long as we defend it. So if you defend that level right there, there can be further upside. It is a sharp rejection. It's giving up a lot, true, but it's testing previous resistance. So it, with the volatility expected from Solana, which is kind of within this, right? You get these big chunks down, big chunks up. So it's kind of normal to reject that big. 125 on the daily needs to hold. On the weekly, we have that 129. On the daily, 125. And then break 143, please, so we can go to the upside. But technically, Solana, at the moment, if you think about it, you are in a position of strength in here. And I'm not saying this trade, I have guarantees, but I'm saying this is a position of strength. And try to understand it from the point of view of someone that has no clue what's going to happen. But if you are here, where are we? We are in the right shoulder, and we are at that level. So that is a level to long, okay? But when you long responsibly, you need to understand where is your liquidity. Well, it's there. If you go there, you need to be out. If it goes beyond 113, well, it wants to take all of it. So you are out. At that point, you pay your fees on being wrong. But if you long this one and it comes back up there, at that point, everybody is going to be looking at you and saying, oh my God, those bastards that enter at the right shoulder. I didn't see it. That could be you, right? Then you get the best risk to reward. And you're risk-free here. If it fails, you don't lose anything at that point because you have a stop loss somewhere in the middle. And if it succeeds, it takes you back up into 171, at which point you face the resistance that is incoming, and you tight that stop loss and you try to squeeze as much as possible anywhere between a 13%, or if it succeeds, it could be a 20%, and up until a 36. If it goes beyond that and it takes up until 184, so be it. And if it goes to the top end, trail it. You know, you can get into 260, but you're going to need a lot of lag for that. So make sure that you trail it properly. Next one, I'm going to look into the chat. Whatever is the latest message is the next coin. So make sure it's yours. Right. Next one is ICNT. ICNT. Invesco MSCI China Technology. Right. And no one say anything on Patreon? Nope. What is this? So there's a bullish reversal in here. Channel up all the way through with higher highs and higher lows despite the downtrend. That ended up reversing the price as well. And let's see if there's been any damage in here. Nope. Holding support, double bottom at support at the moment. So this area there, 27, is an interesting area that is being longed, and it has formed a double bottom on that level of support. Interestingly, that is the point of control, that 27. So if we flip that 27 into actual support and we don't break below, hitting 23, for example, this could carry on up. We do have some things that are not so bullish in here, that we have a bearish divergence that already confirmed at this point. So we have to battle against that bearish divergence. But if you enter at 27, or if you already had a long from before, defend the 27, and this neckline should take you back into 31, closer and closer to that 75 resistance. And if you put another bearish divergence at 75, start tightening your stop loss, because that is going to come with a higher high. But if this is a lower high, you know, that will be your third bearish divergence, which in case you don't break out and you don't invalidate it, it could be the end of this rally. You can also make use of this, because it seems to be respecting that too, together with the momentum. So that is an interesting one too. Next one, ticker Snowflake. Okay, let's go into this one. I'm doing a lot of stocks these days. You guys are completely not interested in altcoins anymore. There you go. We are support on the weekly. Let's see if that's gonna break in here. What is this pattern? So that pattern there. Oh, I don't know. Is this an ascending wedge that broke down? Could it be? Let me see. Well, momentum. Yeah, momentum had a hiccup, but it's just internal. But the actual support is here, which is holding. It's really going against my idea of the ascending wedge. What else do I have in here? The highs are usually at 72. If you're looking for long in this, is a challenge. Let's put it down to the daily. Is there a breakout? Possibly. It's really noisy. It did a breakout, fake out, now it's still there. Oops, let's go to support and resistance. Is it forming a head and shoulder in here? It could be forming a head and shoulder. It's not perfect because it's not testing my neckline on the right shoulder. It should have come in here and then create another one. But it's just jumping around. It could be the case that it's just gonna come there, and instead of being a head and shoulder, it's just gonna be an inverse cup and handle. So monitor definitely the 192 because it was previous resistance, recent support. We are overextended in volatility to the downside, and here that P is saying precisely that, coming from the volatility oscillator. But if you don't hold the 192, yeah, that could break down even further, thanks to also the ascending wedge, which has a base around 119, probably around the target. Pre-market is 2.8, so it's bouncing around here at these levels of support. But if it breaks that, it could complete the cup and handle. In terms of bullishness, well, you have some resistance there. You have the breakout there. I don't know. I'm more in favor of the bearish bias, but that's just a very quick look into this snowflake that I never did TA before. So don't take me too serious on this analysis. I might be missing something, I look into the charts a lot more, because for the sake of time, I need to go very quickly in here. Let's do WorldCoin. Let's do a little bit of, I could do Platinum. Can you give me the symbol of Platinum, please? And then I can do Platinum too, because I cannot afford to search for that. WorldCoin. Yeah, I remember this one had a lot of fuss, and then it didn't. The weekly is probably gonna show. Right, so we have a higher low. What happened in here? There was supposed to be a breakout in July 2025. It reached 58, and then it puked massively back into that line. And price action has had support and resistance is around there. This previous support has turned into new resistance. It's really bad. It looks like typical chart of a bear market in an altcoin. At least it needs to reclaim 64, otherwise it's just gonna continue bleeding. I cannot say much more about this. It's just really bad. You could be on the lookout for a layer 2 breakout, in which case your resistance is at 51, which is located at 83. So around here you have momentum shift. That it's difficult to scale the price in here. So that also is in confluence with this support. So that support that held from May 2025 now is your resistance. So try to get to 80 cents and break out really to have a shift, or at the very least form the stupid double bottom below the neckline of 63, 64. I'm talking about this double bottom there. But we don't have anything else to look up for. Like below that 48, there's no structures. There's just price discovery, but to the downside. That's why I don't like it. And platinum. Anyone has the symbol of platinum, copper platinum? Let's look for it. Platinum. I don't remember which one it is. So I'm just going to use the trading view one. It's at 2.5. Taking out the previous high of 2.3 and going parabolic. Let me put it in the monthly. Right. Oh, that's a crazy pattern. And momentum. So it has reached 90 on the monthly. That's the highest momentum ever. And now we are at 88. Notice that we have taken previous momentum numbers on other commodities, like on gold. Well, 94. The highest it's been is 100. Have you ever seen any asset that can go into 100? But I don't even know if that's calculated properly. Silver made it to 100 as well, and it stayed there. That's crazy. Copper. So with metals, you don't know where the momentum can really stop. Let's go back to platinum. Go to platinum. Again, we are 87. It could continue, but platinum has never been beyond 89, contrary to the other metals that made it to 100. What can we say? Well, the support of the most bullish support is here, is at 53. So you could, theoretically speaking, come back on the monthly here and still continue, because the monthly, is so far from there, and it only needs to respect that to stay bullish, because that's the most bullish support. If you tell me, no, this is the support, no, that's too tight, right? So that's just a local support. On the weekly, platinum, what is it doing? It was defending this and it broke down. On the daily, well, there should be a breakdown already, but we have highs in here. There's no bearish divergence. So platinum is accelerating, definitely. Levels of support. Let's start with weekly. Levels of support. Look, new all-time high this week. You got support at 1.6. You held support at 2.1. So you don't want to go back there. No bearish divergence on the weekly either. Wow, that's very strong. So this is just going to continue, do some pullbacks. We need to see bearish divergences of something. We had a bearish divergence in here, but then we invalidated with this high. The revenge rally went so high there relative to the previous one. Very difficult to do TA on this. I have to acknowledge that. I'm not going to tell you like I'm mastering platinum. I'm really puzzled by the price action there. Let's go with Tron. Sorry, TRX. Tron used to be doing what Monero is doing this cycle. Tron was the network, and still is in a way, where people take profits from Bitcoin out of the exchange in USDT. This day, people are taking profits also on Monero just because of the need for privacy. But still, Tron is a thing. It did really well this cycle. And I sold a lot of Tron, by the way. I just left enough to do transactions, but I sold a lot of Tron at these highs. What do we have in here? On the weekly, we have a breakdown. And we are in a channel down on the weekly after reaching this peak momentum over 80s. And now there is no bearish divergence. It's just doing the same as the momentum. Resistance is at 70. Let's see where that resistance is in case we get another breakout. But that resistance is at 38 at the moment, slightly higher high. Let me see if we have liquidity on TRX. We should have. We need to zoom out. Actually, let's do it on the daily to see the full picture. Right, so we have a big liquidation level at 40 cents. Things cool down massively at around 44. Interestingly, that's below the all-time high here. And let me put an RSI. Ever indicators, RSI, just like that. We just got rejected from daily resistance. So daily peak in here at 93, then at 83 right there, and then at 70 right there. So 70 on the weekly is resistance, but on the daily it already hit. And risk for Tron, we have a bunch of levels, starting with 23.8, 22, and the third one is 19. That is the beginning of this rally there. So you got 3 layers of risk to the downside, and to the upside you have that 40 cents into 43 cents. So to get there, I think we are going to have to break out this level, which I don't know if we are really going to manage to do that. And put a new high on the price and get in here and break that resistance. We could come there and get rejected again, just because it's being respected so far. I prefer to squash those levels to start thinking about a long. But notice this. In here, that level of 30 cents was support, then resistance, and now it could turn into support at 30 cents. If it holds, you are again at an area of risk to reward for taking a long, and you could say that the risk is to take this low of 27. You don't want to go that low like that. So around here, stop losses. There are not many stop losses up until 26, but you don't want to put your stop loss at 23. That's too big of a downside, and it's too overcrowded with stop losses. So you want to out earlier than that. But that new level there, holding a support, could bring the price back up. And it hasn't reached the technical target, right? Did it? Yes, it did. Oof. That's a downgrade of the trade again. Let's go with the next one. Mariano, what is the strongest narrative at the moment? And you're taking me for a fundamental guy. Who do you think I am? I'm not a fundamental person, at least when it comes to altcoins. I wouldn't be able to tell you which one is the best. So AI is a big thing, but AI has done already a lot in general markets, and that didn't necessarily translate into the altcoins doing the same. So I'm not necessarily thinking, oh, you know, AI, NVIDIA is doing amazing and all these companies around AI, therefore altcoins around AI are going to be massively pumping, because that was not the case this cycle. Rivian, what is that? Is this a coin? It will really help me, guys, if you tell me when you write down things that I never heard about. On the NASDAQ, Rivian Automotive. Right. We got a lot of people coming in for general markets. So I'm going to have to stream also in my new channel. Interesting channel there, right? On the weekly. Don't know if you spot that. On the monthly, it looks like that. On the monthly is up. On the weekly is up. And the price is just going sideways. So it's calling for potential move up eventually. And we got some earnings incoming. When is this? A few days away. And it's right at support at 50 on the weekly. And let's zoom in on the price action. So there used to be a resistance here at $16. Very important level, which unfortunately now we are below it. But if we can reclaim that 17, that will make it look really great. If not, last line in the sand could be support coming in at 13. It is right at the volume weighted moving average, so hopefully it's going to turn it into support as well. And yeah, momentum holding there, breaking down, not great. Unfortunately, to go into 13, you need to break down. So if you go into 13 and you bounce like this, momentum then will do that. And then you get back another bullish setup, which is the liquidity hunt. Liquidity hunt is every time I say you break a level, but you reclaim it immediately after. Okay? Because it's typically when they're tricking the shorts and that's a liquidity hand. You trick the shorts to enter at the breakout, and then you come back up and you continue with the uptrend. That is how it will look. So there's two setups: hold support or liquidity hand. If liquidity hand doesn't play out and you break this 13, you need to find a stop loss somewhere in here to just call it. Point of control is right at 1361. So if you come there, ideally you get the point of control also in your favor to long it. Next one, we got just 2 more minutes, and I'm gonna go with track, origin, trail. I think I've done this one. We'll discover in a second. What? Is it really looking like that? Are you kidding me? Am I gonna do TA of a line? Well, maybe it's because it was listed too early and it was too high before, but well, anyways, I'm gonna review it in this exchange. It looks a little bit better in HTX. Right, what do we have in here? We have lower highs. We got a symmetrical triangle in the price, and there was already a fake out, so momentum pushed really high but came back down. So since this is still holding, or if it holds that 44 right there, that should be an area to long. It's very close to the price support of the ascending line, and if it holds, you get into resistance and you're risk-free. If it holds in here and it follows through with a higher high at 75, and that should be really great as well. And watch out every time that you get closer to a previous high, because it's doing lower highs. But ideally, you get a breakout there, and this finally does the trick. The trick of what? The trick of breaking that trend line of lower levels, and instead of that, breaking outside that. We are at point of control at 39, most traded level. So let's turn that into bullish. Let's hold the 34, look for a stop loss wherever you please. You know, it could be below the yellow line, it could be one of these lows there, and bet on another wave up, not necessarily into so high, but bet into a level where you are ready to put a stop loss, and then trail it as much as you can to the upside. And that's the last one. I hope you enjoy the live stream, guys. It's 101, and yeah, I have to go to swim and enjoy the rest of my day, which is absolutely free of anything. I'm gonna play some computer games and, you know, do whatever I want, and I need to look into some trades. Yeah, but that's just gonna take me half an hour probably. So I'll see you in the next one. I hope you enjoyed the stream. If you haven't hit the like by now, you should. Otherwise, a slap in the face. Write down a comment, subscribe to the channel, subscribe my other